Royal College of Nursing has announced that nursing staff will walk out on the 15th and 20th of December.
They say the government turned down their offer of formal, detailed negotiations as an alternative to the strike action. They are sitting down in Scotland, which is why they're not going on strike yet in Scotland. Let's speak to the director of the Royal College of Nursing in England, Patricia Marquis. A very good morning to you. I know these decisions aren't taken lightly. You know, it's the first time in the history of, you know, the NHS and nursing staff that you're choosing to do this now. Can I just put to you one other nurse who has got in touch with us this morning, and Ben read it out earlier, but it's worth repeating. Laura says, I'm a nurse of 40 years, never been on strike, never would consider it. Everyone, including the patients, are in the same boat. Everyone's suffering the cost of living crisis. And she describes what's going on as immoral. It's immoral to walk out on the 15th and the 20th.
Yeah, and there will be other people, both nursing staff and members of the public, who feel the same. But the majority of our members don't feel that. They feel, I guess, not use the word immoral, but they feel that things are not safe now. Things are really not, well, they're not able to deliver the sort of services that need to be delivered, and actually continuing to work in such a situation and not be able to care for patients is in itself not immoral, but is not right and needs to change. And that's why members have voted in the way they voted.
Patricia, Steve Barclay has tweeted this morning. I'm not sure if you've seen this, but hopefully you are in communication. I know that the negotiations haven't started as you would like them to, but he said, we've accepted the recommendations of the NHS pay review body that gives nurses a fair pay rise of £1,400. This means newly qualified nurse typically will earn £31,000 a year. I know you dispute that. Our priority is keeping patients safe. The NHS has tried and tested plans to minimise disruption to ensure emergency services continue to operate, but inevitably strike action will have an impact. This is the important bit. My door remains open to the RCN if they want to discuss ways we can improve nurses' working lives. Where are you with regards to the negotiations? Because, of course, everything has to happen around the negotiation table. Without that, none of this is going to move forward.
Just to pick up one other point, if his priority was to keep patients safe, he would be investing in nursing and he would be investing in the NHS. It's not safe now. In relation to the door being open, Mr Barclay has met with us on two occasions, once on our own and once with the other health trade unions. He was not willing to talk about the things that need to be discussed, pay and safe staffing. He can say his door remains open, but it remains open on his terms, and it needs to remain open on terms that we can all agree on. So unless he's prepared to speak to us about the things that we're in dispute over, his door is shut, effectively shut, and he's forcing nurses to take this action now.
Did he give you a reason why he wouldn't talk about those things?
Not particularly, other than what he's saying in the public domain around it's ridiculous and it's too much money and we can't afford it. But what he isn't listening to is the very, very loud message that nursing staff now are giving him from across the UK, that actually it's not sustainable. The NHS is struggling in a way it's never struggled before to be able to deliver safe services for patients. Yeah. And that just really is the message to him, that he needs to speak to us.
But, Patricia, of course, the difference between what you've been offered, I think, is about 4.75%, the £1,400 for those on the lowest band, versus what you're asking for, which is up to 19% as a pay rise. I mean, you know that that is not going to happen. What are you hoping that will be achieved on the 15th and the 20th if Stephen Barclay continues with his point of view that we cannot afford any more than you have already been given? If you go on strike, what next? I mean, how do you cope with the demoralised workforce that you're talking about if nothing changes post the 20th of December?
Well, we're not contemplating that he won't come back to the table as a result of these strikes. But the reality is, if our members need to do it again in January, in February, that's what we'll need to do until we can get back to the table and start to have some serious negotiations about how to close that gap between what has been given and what is required to ensure that there are enough nursing staff in the workforce to deliver the care that people need.
OK, we're going to have to leave it there, but we do appreciate your time this morning. That's Patricia Marquis, who is the director of the Royal College of Nursing in England.